Hi, I'm Mark Kiesling. I'm the director of LCMS Youth Ministry, and here today to talk about some exciting developments around providing food at the 2022 LCMS Youth Gathering in Houston. With me is DCE Audrey Warner, who's going to talk about some great work that her team is doing around providing a comprehensive food plan as we look at our meals in downtown Houston. Especially talking about some options now for those of you that are maybe in outlying hotels or have large groups for some pre-sign up options. So that again, it'll be hopefully meals will be something you can do efficiently and quickly, be well fed, ready to learn and have fun in Houston, and then also make that an efficient process for you as well. So just a little bit about why we did this. As we've been planning for an event like a youth gathering in a pandemic, and maybe in those different stages of coming out of a pandemic, there are a lot of things we had in mind. One, events like ours, we're talking about what does it mean to be a bubble and safely do things like meals and gather and all this kind of stuff. You've been through that at your churches and schools and all different places. And so one of the things that certainly came up was how maybe do we keep our participants kind of centralized around the gathering complex and at Minute Maid Park. And so one of obviously those big times when sometimes we disperse is around meals, especially for the dinner meal. So we wanted to really increase the amount of capacity we had for the dinner hour before mass events during the gathering. Second thing too that we realized quickly, and the city of Houston helped us with this, is that the restaurants in downtown Houston, those in what's even called the underground, kind of some tunnels that are in downtown Houston, really cater to the business workers in downtown Houston. They're primarily open Monday through Friday, maybe 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. They might be great if you're an early riser, want to go get an extra cup of coffee before your kids get up, go do that. But yet for dinner hours, a lot of them are not open, but they really cater for lunch and breakfast for participants. So we knew we got to do something more for the dinner hour. As probably is hitting you in your area too, Houston is no different in that there's really some shortage of service industry workers. We were just down in Houston a few weeks ago, and I could go on my Google map, punch in a restaurant, said it open. I go to open the door, door's locked, they're closed. And we don't know what July brings, if that could still be the case. And we said, we really want to focus on our time with some partners that we knew would be able to provide meals for us and a workforce. And so we're working on those details too. Also as well too, we've got participants who are staying at outlying hotels, whether that's the Galleria or other places. And we know it's not as easy for them just to return to their hotel and have maybe Uber Eats or something be delivered to their hotel. And we wanted to provide them a place where they could sit down, get a little rest and get a meal and that they could easily find. And then two, we know that large churches can really struggle to find one place to eat and try to stay together as a group. And so we wanted to provide opportunities for them as well. And then of course too, when we maybe get large churches into some organized places for lunch, it then opens up the lines for smaller churches to be able to get into places or get into restaurants as well. So those are just kind of some of the factors that we looked into. As you know, you probably have been through this before. We've got great downtown facilities, our gathering complex, which is the George R. Brown Convention Center, Marriott Marquis Hotel, Hilton of the Americas as well, and then of course Minute Maid Park. And so that's where we're going to be focusing on, just kind of getting the lay of the land of what we're talking about and what we're providing, as well as Discovery Green as well for this comprehensive food plan and where the options will be. So Audrey, I want to turn it over to you a little bit as we start talking about lunch and dinner and all these things that will be taking place throughout the day. How about we start with lunch? I'm an adult leader. I'm thinking planning that through. What are some options that we've got for our adult leaders and for our groups in downtown Houston for lunch?
Yeah, we have all kinds of options for you. And we're still keeping feelers out for more. So as time goes on, we may be throwing out even more options for you. But right now, what we have is we in the gathering complex area, we have GRB, which is the George R. Brown Convention Center. We'll have options there in Hall E and Hall A. It will be like concession stands or vendors offering food for you to go and you can either order full meals or piecemeal, whatever that looks like. So we're working through with GRB on what that looks like, and we'll be throwing out that detailed plan in the next few weeks for you. The hotels will be offering different options for you to eat. There'll be food trucks in Discovery Green, which is right outside GRB. We have some amazing food truck options that will be there. They'll do cash, credit card, and some of them even Apple Pay. is what we're told. So your kids will resonate with that easily. So great stuff. And then, of course, there's restaurants downtown, and then district events are happening as well. Check with your districts to see when they're offering events, and there's some great food options connected almost to all of those.
So one thing that's unique about the food trucks, which are great, is that they have a partnership with Levy Restaurants, that is the caterer at George R. Brown Convention Center, that you can get stuff at the food truck and bring it into the convention center. That's pretty unique to be able to bring in outside food into the convention center. So let's take a minute to talk about this, is that if you're thinking like, oh, we'll just order Domino's pizza and have it delivered to the George R. Brown Convention Center. That can't happen. Outside food cannot be brought in. Even if you're carrying, if you go to a Subway down the street and you walk back into the convention center carrying that bag, you're probably going to get stopped by convention center staff, because it's health reasons. There's a number of reasons why they can't allow outside food to come into the building. Now, certainly in your backpacks, you can put granola bars, some snack items. We'd recommend them be kind of pre-packaged to make sure to throw the trash away after you have that. But in terms of large meals and things, that can't be allowed into George R. Brown. So we recommend you take advantage of these options we're going to talk about today. Great lunch options. And those are pretty much open throughout the day as well. For, you got those hungry teenagers that eat 6 meals. They can get 3 of them before dinner. So that's great. So you got those options. Now let's talk dinner. So it's, people are tired. It's busy. You're trying to get ready for mass events maybe. We're really trying to provide some options where you can put your feet up a little bit, get some rest, and hopefully make that as efficient as possible. Why don't you talk a little bit about some things that you would consider for adult leaders around the dinner hour?
Yeah, great things that we're working on right now. Well, first of all, just sort of a rewind, I should say, in Hall E and Hall A, there's lots of seating. So Hall E, there are 4,000 seats. And in Hall A, there's 2,000 seats. And so if you're like going, where do I go? They'll have those options. In the evening, it shifts just a little bit. Actually, once again, check with your districts to see what kind of events that they have going on, because those are so important to connect with, especially in the district and state that you're involved in. You get to reconnect with the congregations that are just in your sphere of influence. There's also some restaurants that are available, but like Mark said, right now it can say that it's open. It just depends, because we're still on the aftermath of COVID. And so doors aren't quite open yet, or they have certain times that they close that weren't necessarily changed on their website. So check a lot of those kinds of stuff. You can have delivery brought to your hotel through Uber Eats, things like that. Check with your hotel front desks what all kinds of offerings they have. And like we said, for lunch, there are some hotels right now that are working on what can we offer these big groups. So that's not a guarantee, but they're certainly having conversation about what that looks like. And once again, the food trucks are going to be offered or open for all of you, and they are connected directly to GRB. And then you have Hall A, which during the day are vendors or a concession stand kind of thing. But in the evening time, it closes down for about an hour, and it resets to 4 different types of buffets that your congregation can order from on all of the days that Hall A is open. And so you will get you'll get an email once you register for Hall A. You'll get an email from Levy, which is the catering company that GRB works through, and then you'll get an email from my team to say, we got your order. Here's what you've ordered. Here's the day that you show up. Here's what this looks like, and all the details that go along with that. And you get some great buffet offerings. So you can have there's a Tex-Mex buffet line. There is a roasted chicken buffet line. There's a barbecue chicken buffet line. And then there's a lasagna buffet line. And with that comes all kinds of extra fixins that go with that, as the Texans would say, fixins. And that's for $20 per person. Plus, along with that, you get reserved seating in Hall A, and then you get premier seating reserved in Minute Maid. So it is open from 5:30 to 7:30 to eat in these buffet lines. Your church will have reserved space to sit, and no one else gets to sit there, and you can You can have that in that beautiful air conditioned room for a couple hours, and then you get premier reserved seating. And then Hall E, we're still working through the details of what that looks like. With Levy and GRB, they'll have still some of the concessions that are open, and then some of them that you can pre-order. So we'll throw out or send out information of the details on that, between $13, $14, something like that per meal for that. We'll let you know about that. And then Minute Maid Park will also offer concessions around the arena that is over there. So that's what it looks like for dinner options for right now.
Yeah, so a little bit with Minute Maid is, so we're working on a plan. This probably is maybe the first time this has been spoken about that everyone will have assigned seating at Minute Maid Park for mass events. We're working on a plan with the stadium for that. But again, Hall A, like Audrey said, would have specific preferred seating. So again, and partly this ties to one night in Hall A is going to be a district event as well. And so that way there's kind of a specific spot where they'll be sitting for the mass event later that night. The Minute Maid piece is that it's going to be an early entry. So basically you're getting into Minute Maid Park, and this is only on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Saturday. We're still going to be in move-in. But you get an early entry, and basically concession stands will be open on the main level, and then an upper level, you'll know where those are at. And then you'll still have assigned seating. Won't necessarily be preferred seating, but you'll have assigned seating inside Minute Maid. You'll be able to find the concession stand near where you would eat. And so we're allowing for people to basically have an hour before we let everyone else in. And then at 7:30, the doors will open for everybody. So you kind of have that time. Again, you won't prepay anything. We're going to give you access, essentially, get a wristband to get in early. So then it's a concession stand. Remember, we've said this other places, Minute Maid is cashless. So you need debit cards and things like that to buy. They do actually have reverse ATMs at Minute Maid Park where you can put cash in and get a card out that can be used at the concession stands. But nonetheless, that's how that will work for Minute Maid Park. Something that we somewhat similar we did in Minneapolis, but a little bit different in terms of the amount of food that's going to be available, that they will be prepared for us to bring probably 6,000 to 8,000 people in, depending on how many want to sign up. So Audrey, to wrap up, one thing that if you're an adult leader, what would you tell them in terms of like some steps to think through as they're thinking about, maybe especially if we're talking about the dinner hour, if they're still planning what that looks like? What are maybe some of the things that you'd have them think through the filters as they consider feeding their groups for the evening?
Yeah, well, first of all, once again, I reiterate, checking with your districts to make sure what days they're offering something, get connected with them. The other pieces to that is, I do know that there are some, especially the larger congregations, who want to connect with like a special restaurant around the city. I would connect with them ASAP for reservations, so that you know ahead of time. And then you can look and say, okay, I have these particular days that we don't have a specific plan yet. You can either break out into your small groups and send them to different places, or you as a congregation can say, we're going to, on Saturday night, we're going to sign up for Hall A because it's easiest. And here's some buffet lines, and we can sit and relax and get our head together and our schedule together, and then walk over together to Minute Maid, and then do some pre-ordering of the concession stands or whatever that looks like for Hall E the rest of the week. And it gives you a chance to just really kind of pause and reflect and figure out what the details are for that. But that would be where I would start first and foremost.
That's great. That's great. And so that really gives you, again, a lot of different options to think through if you haven't already done that. I'm going to talk a little bit about timeline of what we're looking at in terms of how this will work. So soon, if maybe by the time you're watching this, you already have your housing assignment, but those will be out soon as we record this. We are kind of sending this out for this option to our outlying hotel properties, whether that's the Gallery or other places, and then also some of our larger churches to take advantage of some of these pre-order spots so that they have a chance to do that. Probably about 3 weeks or so after housing assignments are sent out, then we'll release these to the wider public. So again, we're giving you a little bit of a window of opportunity for those that are outlying properties and also large churches before we allow everyone else to sign up. We basically have around May 1st is probably the deadline when orders for, like, say, Hall A, or if there is a pre-order part of Hall E, that will need to start being into Levy. And then really we'll kind of turn you over to Levy, because then there'll be the time of maybe finalizing orders or payment that will need to take place. And then all that with Levy needs to be wrapped up by June 1st. is really our deadline to get that done so they can get the food ordered and have it ready to go for us in July. If you sign up for Minute Maid Park, it's a very simple process. Basically, you'll just get the confirmation, and then you won't get anything until you get to the gathering when you get your wristbands or whatever the process will be for getting you into Minute Maid Park. So Minute Maid's a pretty easy one, that there won't be a lot of additional interaction that you'll need, but just know that you got that signed up. So Audrey, tell us a little bit about maybe your team and like where will they find you at the gathering? Where will be the location for check-in or anything like that, you'll be able to support them in that way?
Yeah, actually, after you register for your food options and it goes through Levy immediately will let us know what congregations have registered. And then our team, which consists of me and Joel Davis and Mary Hildebrandt, will be sending out a receipt email, basically saying we received information that your church has registered or something like that, so that you get not only confirmation from Levy, but you'll also get confirmation from the National Youth Gathering, our team. And then the Hall E people, you will not necessarily need to touch base at the day of registration. You'll just get that confirmation email. Hall A buffet people will most likely receive a colored wristband for the day that they've registered. And you will pick that up on the day that you register for the gathering. So in the same area that all the gathering backpacks are, all of the registration pieces, there'll be a booth that will be for comprehensive food plan. You'll go up to that booth and we will give you whatever envelopes that you have for Hall A especially. Then throughout the week, we will have a booth that you will know where we are at. Right outside Hall A, most likely, but you will see us. And then somebody from our team will be there always, as well as somebody from Levy will be there always.
Awesome. Thanks, Audrey. And thanks to you and your team for all the work that you're investing in this for our participants. I know it'll be a blessed opportunity. I can't wait to see those halls full of people and enjoying the great food that's being prepared for us. We're thankful for Levy and Minute Maid Park and all our partners. Continue God's blessings on all your preparation for July.